Let's talk about depression. Today, I'm going to share with you a very unconventional view, but one that changed my life and my relationship to and with depression. And that's why I think it's so important to share this point of view. And most people think that depression is actually a chemical imbalance in the brain. And doctors talk about serotonin, medications, and therapy. But what if ask yourself, what if depression is not an illness to fix? What if it's actually a healing force? So something completely different than we thought, and a signal or even a doorway to transformation. And I have seen depression up close in myself, in the people I work with, in my family, in the people that I surround myself with. It's kind of everywhere. And I realized something very important. The standard way of looking at it does not tell the whole story. It may explain symptoms, but it doesn't explain why so many people are stuck within it. And they're not just stuck for a few weeks, months, some are stuck for years, decades, or for their whole life. And this is exactly why in this video I want to share with you a new perspective on depression, one that can change how you see yourself, your struggle, and even your future. And at this point, I would like to start with my personal story to share with you why am I talking about this in that way, how am I seeing it, and why it might be very controversial. My story is pretty much like the story of most entrepreneurs and want to achieve big things, dream big dreams, want to get somewhere, people who want to change their lives. I was one of those. So in my 20s, I was reaching for goals. I was like shooting for the moon. And I said, okay, even if I don't hit it, I land among the stars. It's maybe something you already heard many times. And that was like of my mantra. I wanted to get up there. I thought, wow, if I'm achieving my business goals, my dreams, I'm getting the status, I'm getting the cars, I'm getting the watches, I'm getting like everything. I thought once I'm a millionaire, then my life is wow, amazing. So that was my dream. And that's what I aimed for and worked for. And I kind of achieved everything I dreamed about. But there was one problem. I kind of had everything. I had everything, but I was not happy. And it didn't make sense. I was like, okay, now you have the watches, now you have the Rolex, now you have the AP, now you can get anything you want, you can live anywhere you want, you have like time freedom, financial freedom, geographical freedom, you have all kind of freedom. So what else? What else? And that was my problem. Nothing made sense. Nothing else made sense. No matter what I did, what I got, I was not happy, and I was kind of stuck in my addiction, stuck in those patterns, stuck in those habits. And you could see it. I was obese, I was overweight, I abused substances, I abused gaming, I abused porn, I abused so many different things. So I reached a point where I reconsidered everything, everything that society has told us, that what we should do to become successful and happy and have an amazing life, a high quality of life, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work. With that symptoms, with that experience, my girlfriend told me that I need to do therapy, that I need to look for help. Because obviously I cannot get out alone. And I thought I can get out alone because, if you're one of those high achievers, then one thing you carry usually with yourself is that you want to do everything by yourself. A lot of those things you want to check, you want to control, you want to micromanage also in your companies. You may have experienced that in your own life if you're an entrepreneur. So I thought I can do it myself, but years of experience showed me that I can't, because if I would be able to, I would have done it already, but life speaks for itself and I was not able to. And even in my entrepreneurial journey, I now backwards, I can see it that I was depressed, but at this time I didn't see it. I thought it's normal to feel like empty in the evening, to drink alcohol, to smoke cannabis, to do, I don't know, these kind of things to distract myself, to go out all the time, to look for adventure, for action, for this, for that. I thought it's normal, especially how cities nowadays are built. They're built for distraction, they're built for disconnection. So you don't even see where you are. So I didn't see it. I was kind of blinded by how life is built nowadays. But if I look back, I can clearly see I was depressed. I just I didn't see it. And I think I also, if I would have seen it, I didn't want it to be true, because if it's true, and if I was within that frame that I lived before, like the material reality is the ultimate reality, this would have meant to me that I'm kind of sick, that I'm having a mental illness. So basically, I'm having a label, and I know it's not possible to heal, because science, psychology did not find a way to heal it. People are medicated, people are in therapy for years, and it's not going to change. And the story actually is, and this was also my story, because I started to look for professionals. And the first one was a psychiatrist, and he told me we need to work with medication because we need to stabilize you so we can work through it and then change it. It didn't happen because I said I will not take drugs that alter my brain chemistry to then do what? To feel good, to feel happy, to then diminish everything because now it's kind of solved. I saw so many people, you can see it in their eyes. It's like their glow goes off. No way I'm going to do that. But I also didn't have other opportunities or options, because that was my frame. I thought, again, this reality is the ultimate reality. So I only have the possible solutions that are within the frame. And the only things that I believed in was science, were the facts, were the proofs, were the researches, was the things that show me this is it, this is how it works. That's how it needs to be. And then luckily I changed the professional. I looked for another one because I had the feeling it's not going to work. So I found a psychologist, and he was amazing. Like, he really liked his job. It's like entrepreneurs. Most professionals in the industry, also in the health industry or mental health industry, are not really good. I mean, that's not a secret, right? It's like everywhere. Most entrepreneurs are just not good entrepreneurs. They have no money, they have no time, they lock themselves into their structures, they get rigid, many things. So I wanted to work with someone who is really into it, with one of the bests. And I think I found one of the bests, because this man was living it. He was an initiate, and he walked the path. And what he did is he opened up my frame. So basically, he didn't solve depression because he didn't have the tools to solve it, the perspectives that I needed to solve it. But what he did is he changed the frame that I worked within. So he gave me more space, more room, so I could walk around and do things and see other things. It's like before I had that focus, very sharp, very small, and my world was small. I didn't have many options. And suddenly it goes up. I focus out. I have more room, more space. So, in other words, I started to believe in things that I did not believe before. And with that, I used the time to study all of those topics. I wanted to know everything that psychology knows about this topic. I wanted to know what's going on with me. Nobody had the answers. So I went into the topic, and I found out that psychology really doesn't have the answers. So within the new frame, I now had other pathways to go into to study, because 2020 was the year where I stopped working. Why? Because I ended my old path, and the new path for a new job, new business wasn't ready. When you're depressed, you just don't want to do anything. You're not motivated. It's just super hard. And once you fall out of your old to then start something new is nearly impossible. That's why so many who are in this depression are stuck to what they're doing. Stuck. It's like an anchor in the old self. So I used the time, those next 4 years, 5 years, to just learn everything I could. So I learned about psychology, I learned about spirituality, I learned about ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge, I learned about occultism. I just tried to get a full picture of everything, of everything. And with that, I didn't just learn it, I didn't become a philosopher, but rather an initiate, somebody who is actually putting the knowledge into action, who brings it down from the other planes, from the mental plane of knowledge, brings it down and embodies it. So basically, I changed all the time. I meditated for many hours. I did other practices. I was really 100% committed to figuring it out. And I think I did. I think I did. It changed my life. All I'm offering you is my truth. You can take it or not. I understand that if you don't want to believe in it, if you believe medicine, do it. I think medicine has a big point here. It's very important, and it's not my solution, is for sure not the solution for everyone, but I'm sure it's the solution for some. And for those people are this and my next videos, because I'm going to do a deep dive with you into the topic so you find your way out, or in other words, find your way in, because that's the path. And the conventional view of depression is that depression is defined as a mental disorder, and the characteristics are sadness, low energy, loss, like a loss of interest, negative thought loops. You have, usually it comes with a lot of shame, it comes with a lot of judgment, with a lot of anger, with a lot of hate, with a feeling of worthlessness, with a feeling that one has no skills, no abilities, cannot do anything, is not good in anything, even though it might not be real. A lot of times, I think it's all times not real, because everybody has something unique, gifts and abilities. But these are the thoughts. This is what depression basically does. We are getting those negative thought loops. And by the way, did you know that the WHO said or stated that depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide? And what's the cause of this disability? The cause, the official one, is a chemical imbalance in the brain. And the treatment, as already mentioned, are like medication, therapy, and with it, of course, lifestyle adjustments. And then the question is, what do you do? What do you do if you have a lack of motivation and you think you need to motivate yourself, instead of understanding that this is a protective mechanism from your body that's working for you? What do you do if you have no joy in nothing? And if you want to find joy, instead of understanding that the lack of joy, the temporary lack of joy, is something that you need to go through, it's actually a signal. What do you do if you feel trapped, like it's forever, time stands still, you are in this dark hole? What do you do if you feel like life is lifeless? You don't even want to get out of bed because you don't have any perspective, nothing to do, no future. It doesn't get better no matter what you tried. And usually, if you watch this video, you might be one of the persons or one of the people who already tried different modalities, who went through therapy, who tried maybe even medication, who tried psychedelics, who tried other things, but nothing really worked. And what about those mental loops? The self-criticism, the numbness, how do you deal with all of that? And the treatments, usually you only have two pathways. And the one is the standard pathway. It's the medication, therapy, and lifestyle changes. And the second one is more holistic. So that's when people say, oh, it's your gut biome. Oh, it's your diet. Oh, it's, I don't know, you need to consume lithium, or you need to do, I don't know, mindful exercises, meditation. You need to exercise your body, or you need to work more, you need to distract yourself. So you need to keep on going. So basically you have these two pathways, standard and holistic. But these somehow, from my experience, can stabilize, maybe. They can reduce the pain, maybe. But they don't bring back joy. They don't bring back purpose. They don't bring back authenticity. And that's what we're longing for so much, because that is what depression really does. It brings us to who we are. But let's talk about the gap first. The gap between these old modalities and between the new perspective that I'm going to share with you now very soon is that people still feel very empty and unseen. The gap is that depression is not a malfunction, it's a different perspective. It's like saying fever is a malfunction. How many people do you know who just take like paracetamol or some other drugs as soon as the temperature rises to 38? So quickly they fight it like it's something bad. Actually, it's the opposite. How many people are dying every year because people fight the fever, and with that, they're fighting their own system. And that's what they do with depression too. So what if depression is not a malfunction, but rather a healing force, like other ones that we have and experience every single day, because we are so much stronger, complex, intelligent than we might think. So what if depression is really transformation in progress? And actually, this is what I experienced and believe 100% it is. Depression is a transformation in progress, and it is a healing force, because it will help you to get back on the right track. Because usually if you experience depression, you are on a track that is not yours. It has been chosen for you. You have been conditioned into that. So you have an identity and beliefs that are not even yours, but you fight for them, you protect them. You think it's you. You believe your thoughts like it's your thoughts. You don't understand that thoughts are not you. It's something that you have, not what you are. And if you think about it, then you get to the point that depression maybe is a release function that releases you from depression. Depression of what? Of the character you have been pressed into, of the identity you have been pressed into, the personal reality, like Dispenza says, which creates your personal reality. What if it's over? What if it's time for you to thrive? What if it's time for you to figure out who you are, to figure out what your passions are, to figure out why you're here, what's your purpose? And that is exactly what depression does. It depresses you. So basically the energy flows away out of the character. And guess what? That's why you don't have energy. That's why you don't have interests. That's why you don't have joy. Because you are not the character. You are energy expressed as the character. But this energy is being pulled out. It's being incubated. And this incubated energy is waiting to be placed into a new identity, into a new character. The one that is authentic, the one you are here for. But the reason why this does not happen is because you are fighting something. You think that something that is there for you is there against you. You think it's a disease. You think it's an illness. You want to avoid it. You're looking for motivation. You're fighting the symptoms because you think they are symptoms instead of seeing that these symptoms are actually signals. And if you would see that these are signals, you could follow the path, because the signals are showing you the path. You don't even need anyone or anything to get out of depression. You just need to stop interrupting the process. And that's what you're doing by anchoring in your old self and by having fear of losing it all. And guess what's happening with depression? One of the characteristics is that you're going to lose it all. Even your mind. You need to lose everything to find your new self and your new mind. There's no other way. That's why people who are depressed for a long time experience a social collapse. The only thing that they have left at one point is their liquor, or their drugs, or the things that they're addicted to, the food, the porn, the parties, overworking, overtraining, overdoing anything, or even over abstinence. And those are the things that keep you here. And with that, think about it. What are you doing? You are asking a question. And the interesting thing is now that depression doesn't feel bad. Depression is not a suffering. What makes it a suffering and what makes the experience so hard is the question you're asking yourself, which is, what is wrong with me? And guess what happens if you're asking the solution builder about what's wrong with you? Guess the answers you're receiving. Do you think it tells you what's right with you if you are asking what's wrong with you? It doesn't. So it tells you everything that's wrong with you, more than you can tolerate. And that's how the negative circle starts. That's how suffering starts. That's how negative emotions start. Why? Because depression is not characterized by any emotion. Depression is an empty space. It's a black hole. It's a space. I call it depresso land. I call it the void. It's a place of nothingness. There's no feeling, no thoughts. You just know at this place. That's the place of unlimited potential. And the feeling that you are feeling are created by those negative thoughts that you have created because you thought that something that is here for you is against you, and especially something that is so powerful as that force, because that's the same force that created life, that is helping you to change, that is helping you to transform. It's not time anymore. Your time is up of the character, of playing the superficial. The time is up of hurting others, of fighting, of playing the war life, of dreaming the dream of war, of suffering, of survival, of victimization, of victimhood. It's over for that. And if you now can understand that depression happens for you, then the question is not how can I get out of depression? The question is how can I master it? Because guess what? Depression will never go away. And that is why science and psychology cannot heal it, because it's not meant to be healed. It's a feature. It's a powerful feature. It's about to being mastered. It's an art. And what is the mastery actually? The mastery is going into that place, into that void, into that dark hole fully, and coming out as a new person, coming out with new ideas, new gifts, new inspiration, things that you cannot read in those books, things that are so much greater than anything you can imagine. And it's inside of you, because the void is inside of you. Everything started from inside of you. And that's the hard part to understand. So if you master depression, you let go of the old, you go into the void, you come back as a new person. And that's what's going to happen over and over again. But the void will be processed very fast. So you will not be there for weeks or months or years or decades. You will be there maybe for a few hours, for a day, maybe 2 or 3 days. But that's it. That's your transformation. You retreat, you come back. You retreat, you go into the void, you retreat, you get the upgrade, and you come back as an upgraded person, because it's a mechanism of evolution. But the hard part is if you fight it and you don't want it, you are anchoring yourself here. So you're getting the addictions because they give you stability, because the void is unknown. There's no plan. You don't know what's there. You don't know what's coming out. So the addictions are there for you, which gives you hold, you know? You can rely on the parties. You can rely on your work. You can rely on your workout. That's how you anchor, and that's how you don't get into the void long enough to close like the bar. It's like a loading screen on a PlayStation. You go in, it starts to load, but as soon as you anchor and you come back, you're following your addictions, you're looking for motivation, you're fighting it, you're meeting with your friends, you're doing stuff, you get out of it, and with it, you reset the whole process. And that's why it creates so much suffering, because you go in, you reset, go in, reset, go in, reset, and it's an endless cycle. And that creates anxiety. Every morning you wake up and you're afraid of your future. Why? Because you know that your future is going downhill, because you feel that the force is getting strong. And it's true. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You are actually a prophet at this moment. And that's why mastery means understanding it first, following the signals, going into the void, coming out as a new person, and changing your pathways, which means you're changing the whole concept of reality, because you as the observer, you as the creator, are projecting it out what you believe in. So what's going to end with depression after depression phase is usually how you see life. Because now you think you need to trust your past, you need to trust the past experiences, you need to trust history, and you need to control the future. You need to have an idea, you need to set these big long-term goals, you need to know what you're doing in 5 or 10 years. But what depression shows you, usually, what's now coming for humanity, is that we are more open for the unknown and living more in the moment, which means it's not about having things, it's not about achieving things anymore. It's about being the person who basically will achieve those things. So it's about the path. You are becoming now someone. You are doing things because you love to do them, not because you want an outcome. You love to do the things, so you're doing the things and you're starting to enjoy your life. And with it, with the moment, you're getting different ideas and information. You're finding your purpose and your pathway, because now your vessel, your body, your mind is ready for the information, because information has a certain pattern that you need to match. You basically need to become the right host for information, for creativity, so to be able to live the life that you are dreaming of, one that is unique, one that is not in survival, one where you do things because you love to do them, one where you help others, where you serve. This is the life that is actually awaiting you. This is why depression came into my life, into your life, and probably into nearly all lives right now. That is why we are seeing the Great Depression. It means that the whole world is changing. It means that we are, from a higher perspective, going into a new form of theme of reality. Not the survival theme anymore, not the war anymore, not the victim theme anymore, where environment is greater than we are, where my environment and people are controlling us. That theme is over, and that is, by the way, the big end, the apocalypse that everybody or religions are talking about. It's a different meaning. It means that something new is starting, and this is what depression does. So basically, you are experiencing depression now personally, but we are experiencing it also globally, because the whole reality as we know it is going to change. It's like a renaissance that is awaiting us. It's not about working for nothing just to survive anymore. You don't give your life away for a bit of money anymore in the future. This life is going to change. But it's important to understand that what you are experiencing right now is not just you, it's all of us. Why? Because we are changing it as a collective. And in the spiritual world, this is what it's being called the Great Awakening. Because what are you awakening of? From the character you have been pressed into that is asleep. So you are asleep, so you're believing you are the things that you think, you are the values, you're the culture, you're the religions, you're all of that. But it's not true. It's not you. You are the energy that has been pressed into. And now the awakening is the depression, the release of it, to see who you are and to live a completely different life, because you are so much bigger, greater, and stronger than you ever thought. So, the truths that I wanted to share with you today in this video is that depression is not a malfunction, it's a healing force. It strips away what no longer serves you so something new can emerge. The lack of motivation, the loss of joy, the feeling of being trapped, these are not failures, these are signals guiding you into change. And this is the beginning of mastery, learning to work with those signals and then using depression not as a prison anymore, but rather as a path to a new life. And if this perspective speaks to you, if you can feel it, then please subscribe to this channel. In the next videos, I will show you how to decode the very first signal of depression and how to begin working it the right way.